As the Gellerfield slowly flickered and died upon the fist of iron, the ship was left at the mercy of the Neverborn that caressed the iron flesh of the ship with their claws. A strange contagion began to infect the ship. First, only the ship's crew and Legion serfs seemed to be susceptible to the disease, their flesh slowly bloating and distending, creating a foul stench as pus and other bodily fluids began to ooze from their ears, eyes, nose, and mouths. The Legion itself was unconcerned, for they were Astartes, and as the Emperor himself decreed, no sickness would blight them. However, they were terribly wrong. Soon the contagion began to affect members of the Legion, but unlike those mortal humans who were infected, it seemed that the disease was even more agonizing for the Astartes to suffer through, feeling their bodies buckle and rot from the inside out. Worse yet, the disease began to affect the Primarch, Ferrus Manus. The liquid metal of his arms began to oxidize and corrode, turning from gleaming silver to dull red rust. The infection began to travel up his arms, the flesh beginning to peel from his bones as his skin bubbled and blistered, pus-filled cysts growing and bursting with the stench of rot and decay. Around him, Ferrus Manus began to watch his Legion succumb to this otherworldly sickness, seeing his sons vomit up their own internal organs and collapse before their bodies began to slowly liquefy into a putrid sludge. In his desperation, he begged for aid, for someone, anyone, to spare him and his Legion. He would give his very soul to save his Legion. And with that offer came salvation from the oldest power within the warp. The dead began to rise, and those still living began to no longer feel pain and discomfort from the sickness. The Iron Hands were forever changed, their armour encrusted with slime and vile filth. Those with bionics found their prosthetics corroded and caked with rust. Ferrus Manus himself found that his armour bore a new sigil. Instead of the shining hand of iron, it was now skeletal, engraved with a trio of orb-like skulls. Gone now were the Iron Hands, and in their place were born the Hands of Decay, foul, plague-ridden parodies of the once proud and noble Astartes they once were. Nurgle's new champion, Ferrus Manus, ordered, with a voice now sickly wet and raspy, for his Legion to rejoin the War Master, so that they may bring Nurgle's gifts to his brothers. The traitorous host began to emerge from the warp in the outskirts of the Sol system. The Phalanx was the first ship to arrive, followed by the rest of the Imperial Fist's fleet. The newly christened Flesh Wolves would arrive soon after, as did the Blood Angels, Raven Guard, Dark Angels, White Scars, and Ultramarines. The Iron Hands were the last to arrive, and now even their ships had changed. Once proud gleaming obelisks of silver and black were bare rusted metal. Even in the sterile environment of the Void, the Iron Hands emitted an aura of corruption and decay.